What's up, guys? So yesterday I was in an Uber with a dude who was telling me we got to talking about martial arts, and I brought up Cowboy Bebop because he was around my age. I figured he watched anime at one point, and Cowboy Bebop is kind of this interesting fusion of, martial arts, East meets West. It's kind of like it's this story basically about these bounty hunters in the future, kind of trying to find meaning in their lives, and it's an interesting mix of music and, like I said, East meets West, themes about loneliness, about isolation, about love and kinship, and it's such an eccentric show and concept, in my opinion. But this is kind of it. Is when I mentioned this guy lit up and he was like, "Oh my God, I love this show. I love that show." Spike Spiegel. He's one of the protagonists in the show. He was like, "He's my hero. That's my guy," and that's what you're going to hear over and over again from people who enjoy the show. Is, of course they love it, and also, this Spike Spiegel being this iconic character in anime and just in general. But basically, if you've seen the show, Spike. But if you haven't, Spike's kind of he was part of a gang when he was younger, and throughout the show you start realizing, okay, he was part of this gang, but he got out because it wasn't working out for him, and he joined this bounty hunter life, which is basically he's just traveling around and with a crew, interesting people, also sort of I don't want to say outcasts, but people who don't really fit in to their society, or you start learning that, okay, they had really strange, sort of unique, eccentric lives themselves that kind of led them to this vocation. But basically, it's this group of sort of outcasts. They come together, and they're sort of, or they find themselves coming together, at one point, because the characters are added throughout the show. But they're just traveling around, just trying to make a living, being bounty hunters, and they're all very, very talented, gifted, intelligent people, but they're kind of doing this sort of dirty work that doesn't pay a lot. It's almost contradictive. So you're thinking, like, why? That's just one of the things in the show that kind of gets you thinking, like, why are people like this? Like, why are they doing this job? Like, what keeps them going? And I don't exactly know why this show has so much gravity, because everyone who enjoys it says the same thing, like, oh, it's so eccentric, there's just something about it. And if I were to give my own opinion, I would say it's because there is such an interesting mix of concepts of existentialism, like what is the meaning of all of this? Like, life, when you look at it, it's pretty, if you really take a step back, like, it's pretty neutral. So, like, the importance that we give, the purpose that we give, like, that's our filter, like, that has to do with us. And I think a lot of the themes in this show make you think about that, and it kind of takes you through characters who are actually experiencing either those thoughts or experiencing some of those things through action or through interactions with other characters and stuff. So anyway, it's just a very sort of emotional. It's emotional show, but it also, like, kind of leaves you hanging on some episodes where you're just like, wow, like, that just happened, and now the episode's over, and now we're just moving on to the next thing. So that's the best description I can give of this show and how I feel about it and why I think it's got such a pull to it. But I'd be interested to hear your guys' opinion. and I didn't give too much away, but I think I gave enough to kind of color what you guys are stepping into if you haven't seen it before, and if you're into anime. So if you're into anime, you've probably seen it. But anyway, if you're not necessarily a fan of anime, you would still probably enjoy it. Give it more than just the first episode, because sometimes the first episode is not enough to get people interested. I know I showed my sisters and they're like, first episode was okay. I enjoyed the first episode, but usually it takes like an episode or two to get into a certain show. So cool beans, guys. Peace, peace. Have a good one.